Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monday's Market Outlook here at Top Gun Options. My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz, the founder and CEO here at TGO. And just an incredible 24 hours. And I guess you could cut and paste that for the past couple weeks here, and you can cut and paste that for the next fill in the blank. I can't even tell you. So obviously, just a national disgrace last night. The same Senate who, sold stocks and, profited off all of this without telling us the truth about it, or telling you the truth. I knew the truth. Couldn't pass the stimulus relief bill last night. So the futures imploded overnight. Then they recovered, which we'll talk about in a second, because the Fed literally just said, we're done. Here's everything we have. And then here we go. And the market's selling back off here. At the end of the day, nothing, and this is going to suck, but you have to hear the truth. Nothing's going to work economically, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a shock recession today. We're in it. We're already in a recession. And based on all the intelligence I'm hearing from people smarter than me, we're going to enter a depression easily. 30%. The Dallas Fed chief, 30% unemployment is probably likely. And if the dude's saying 30, it's probably going to be 40. But here's the deal. No matter what stimulus is coming, look at the Surgeon General this morning. This week, it's going to get bad. Mayor de Blasio just more or less announced that the hospitals are going to be out of supplies, I think he said by Friday. The United States Navy ship Mercy or Comfort. I forget which one's going to the right coast and one's going to the left coast. But the one should be arriving in New York City, I think, today. 1,000 beds in that thing. They're turning the Kravitz Center, folks. The Kravitz Center in New York is turning into a hospital. I told you about this, folks. 2-3 weekends ago, I was on the beach at the Boca Resort, man, and I got a buddy at the Guard Bureau. He's like, dude, Governor Cuomo's ordering the armories emptied and turned into hospitals. I'm like, holy crap. This week is going to get horrific. It's going to get bad. And I never thought I'd say something like this in my life. I actually don't mind these people dying. Period. I don't mind stupid people dying. If the only good that comes out of this thing is that we get rid of a lot of stupid people, I am fine with that. Nashville, look at this. Look at Nashville, folks. The bars in Nashville, packed. Packed. If I get coronavirus, I get coronavirus. Deniers and disbelievers choose to party until the end. Life is a self-cleaning oven. Goodbye. Please, goodbye. We don't need people like you in our society. Selfish. Even if they get infected and don't die, the math, folks, is it's an Excel sheet, guys. 1 to 3 to 9 to 27, and then the next line, it's like up in a million. It's a disgrace. Everybody gets a trophy generation. You can't tell me what to do type of shit. Hopefully this changes their attitude for the rest of their lives. Disgraceful human beings and fellow Americans. The president, the intel that I have on all of this has been right since day one. The president's still waffling on a shutdown. He was going to do it last Tuesday, and he literally changed his mind, like walking to the podium, down the hallway. He's like, I can't. I'm not going to shut it down. The market's going to implode. No shit. It's going to implode anyway, Mr. President. So he's dying. Well, I don't want to say that. He's desperately trying to, announce the shutdown kind of after he gets the bailout bill. Take the Nancy Pelosi impeachment pen, sign the bailout bill, and go. And by the way, we're going to shut down the federal government. No questions, and walk off the stage. Post office closed, FAA closed, you name it. The federal government should have been closed a week ago. They stand on stage preaching to you to stay 10 feet apart or 6 feet apart and not in groups of more than 10. And the press room at the White House is packed full of people. Do as I say, not as I do. He's waffling. Dr. Fauci is trying. Dr. Fauci, I'm going to keep pushing. tries to make the White House listen to facts of the pandemic. Those two are 180 degrees out. They might try and say they're no, it's just kind of nuanced. This dude doesn't want to shut down the government. This guy said it should have been done weeks ago. Who do you trust in that picture? You can guess who I trust. So this morning, this looks panicked, folks, and I'm going to remind you. Let me pull that headline forward right now. Where's it? Wall Street Journal. As I've predicted, this was orderly. This is, holy shit, where's my 401k is a 01k? I'm sorry, but as I've told you all the way down here, this was orderly. We haven't seen panic selling yet. It's coming. When you see bodies stacked in the Kravitz Center, whatever it's called, in New York City, on the decks of the naval ships, Comfort and Mercy, I want to be wrong, man. I want to be wrong about all of this. I'm not going to be. It's math at this point. It's not emotion. The president should have shut this country down 2 weeks ago. He knew it was coming. So this morning, folks, the Federal Reserve literally was China, was Scotty in the engine room. I'm giving you all I got, Captain. I can't give you any more. No limit to support markets. You know what happened? The futures went from down 400 to up 400, and now the Dow at 10:25 in the morning is down 225. It doesn't matter what the Fed does or the government does. There's going to be massive unemployment. I don't even want to look at it on Thursday. Weekly unemployment claims this coming Thursday. People are losing their jobs by the minute. And Nancy Pelosi and her piece of shit friend Chuck Schumer are fiddling while Rome is burning. Rome is literally burning. The Boca Hospital here, 2 floors, completely swamped with victims. Big tents in the parking lot. It's a shit show. I'm very good friends with doctors throughout Boca. We don't. It's math at this point. We don't have enough ventilators. So the coronavirus, folks, and the testing. You're an idiot if you want to get tested. What do you mean? That's awful. No, it isn't. You're going to go and get tested. What if you don't have it? You're going where all the sick people are. If it comes back positive, you know what they're going to tell you to do? Go home. You need to be home and not leave. The only reason for you to go to the hospital is if you're mortally sick. So people are getting through this, folks. The math, I don't even know. I'm talking out my ass. 97% are going to survive it. I'm seeing reports, though, of decreased lung capacity and all sorts of after effects of it, but I can't confirm any of that. But at the end of the day, it's the 3%, obviously, that don't live. Acute respiratory distress, the elderly. Doctors are going to be making life and death decisions very, very soon here in the United States. They did it in China. They did it they're doing it in Italy. For every other country is going through the same thing, folks. Aren't enough ventilators. And a doctor has to stand there and go, all right, well, there's a young dude who's about to die or an old lady. What would you do? That's coming, folks. Brazil, complete shit show. Our Brazil puts are looking good, and again, I can't. It hurts to say that, but at the end of the day, with the zombie apocalypse coming, I would rather be sitting on a shitload of cash than broke. I think it's going down to maybe single digits. Look at that. My God. They're going to, in my opinion, and from the people I talk to, maybe institute martial law. It's raging through Brazil. And the health minister said yesterday, by April, March 23rd, by April, our health system will be completely destroyed, imploded, whatever his exact words were. You know what he's saying. So continuing to be bearish on Brazil. And social unrest potentially down there. I mean, the guy is a former Army paratrooper. He got no problems calling in the military to stop this thing. This bailout bill, the stimulus, whatever you want to call it, folks, the Democrats were fighting against last night because they call it corporate welfare. They have a point on some level. I don't want companies bailed out at the company level. I want the employees bailed out. You know what you need to do? Airlines and all the other companies that used the Trump's tax policies to buy back their own shares so their executives could make massive, obscene amounts of money. Welcome to capitalism and the stock market. You need to go today, as I'm talking to you, sell all those shares that you bought in the market to raise capital. Why are you taking my hard-earned tax money to bail yourself out when you got yourself into this? Don't give me this bullshit airlines are critical to our country. Obviously, they aren't right now. Ain't no leisure travel, ain't no business travel, and you're not being mobilized for the, reserve, what is it, the CRAF, from World War II, right, and the Cold War. Well, we need the airlines in case we have to send 1 million troops over to Europe to fight the Russians. Okay, man, if that's happening, first of all, it's not going to happen. We'll be in a nuclear war before that ever happens. So we do not need commercial airlines right now. Period. And I flew for 2 airlines and got hired by a third. I'm like, I'm done. This is stupid. It's a ridiculous industry. And scrambling to say, hey, well, we can fly cargo. I'm fairly certain we got many cargo carriers that are carrying the load right now. And, oh, by the way, this thing lives on cardboard, plastic, and paper for 24 hours. Amazon workers not wearing any protective equipment and shit like that. I got boxes on my porch right now of FedEx packages that I'm not touching, or the U.S. mail. It's absolute insanity right now. And if you're an airline guy, and that hurt to hear, you need to go grab your pitchfork and a torch and know that the Federal Reserve, the United States government, with your money, is saving financial firms. What didn't we learn from 2008? Yeah, we learned that banks, we bailed them out, and they have to capitalize and learn. Oh, banks are great right now. J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, whatever. These guys are blowing up left and right, and it's bad. There are several firms in Chicago and New York that are they're on the edge of just going. And if they disappear, remember, when you're in a trade, you're on one side and somebody's on the other. And if the somebody on the other goes, you know what, click, nobody's here anymore, we're gone. You don't make money on it. You lose everything. So not only did they blow up, you blow up too. It's a circular firing squad, ladies and gentlemen. And never forget this. These human pieces of feces.
4 senators sold their stock short.
Especially that guy. He's a liar. Top secret briefing. Goes out and sells all this stuff. And then he says, I did, but that's because I saw bad news on CNBC. He doesn't even believe that. Why isn't he under arrest? No idea. Boeing, Goldman Sachs upgrades Boeing today. You should see the list of disclaimers about this upgrade, though, folks. Look at this thing. It's off a cliff. This was a $400 stock. This was like Apple. Hedge funds, owned Apple. They owned Boeing, and kind of institutional support. And then it's done. It's over with. I think it gets nationalized, folks. Do not buy this stock. If they nationalize it, you know where you go as a shareholder? You're at the end of the conga line, man. There's a bunch of bondholders. There's a bunch of equity stakeholders in front of you as a shareholder. If you please don't. There are other places to potentially bottom feed, and Boeing is not one of them. I love what's her name, Nikki Haley, former UN ambassador under Trump, governor of North Carolina, South Carolina, who resigned from the Boeing board last week, says no, we should not be taking a government bailout, and she resigned. God bless her, man. She runs for that'll be the first female president of the United States, man. I think she's great. Her and Ivanka. How about 2 females on the Republican ticket? Okay, I got to get going. We have a weekly options brief at 1 o'clock. If you didn't get, I'm putting the ladder down, folks. Due to popular uprising and TopGunOptions.com/FT. That stands for full throttle. -max -quarterly. Some people are like, hey, man, that annual membership's a lot. My God, we've literally trained people how to go from little old lady in tennis shoes to millionaires, multimillionaires at this point. It ain't expensive, folks. I'm just catching shit from this guy on StockTwits. It's like, charge outrageous prices and the people are fools. I'm like, you mean the millionaires? It's insane. So there's your quarterly option right now. Weekly options at 1 o'clock, and then we have our solo Amazon live trade brief at 3 o'clock. Okay, have a great rest of your day. Please stay safe. Don't go anywhere. God bless, and make sure you hedge.